Good morning, good morning, or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. In fact, where are you in the world today? It is a little rainy where I am this morning, and rain is one thing. I think sometimes when it rains, it like brings my energy level down a little bit. But I don't think that's really what's bringing my energy level down this morning. My youngest son has been with me for about a month now. He's been visiting, and he left this morning, and I'm a little sad. But on a positive note, I'm super excited about what I'm going to share with you guys today, which is um, following along with all the things I've been sharing this week around the opportunity for creators to sell their influence or monetize their influence with brand deals. So I did I did a show on Tuesday, yesterday, and today we're going to dig into it just a little bit more. So if you've missed those, you can absolutely go back and listen to those. Depending on what platform you are on, you can just probably scroll down in the feed just a little bit and you'll find those. If you can't find them quickly, I don't want you hunting and pecking, let us know and we will send you the links to those specific trainings. So real quick, if you know somebody who is a creator and they're trying to monetize, please sprinkle this out into the world or tag them, whichever makes the most sense for you. I think this is such a powerful opportunity. And, you know, most people that are creating content, we all are, don't necessarily know how to take advantage of their influence, sell that influence. So I'm on a mission to share how you do that. So if you've never been on one of my shows before, my name is Kim Garst. I am an online entrepreneur, just like you. I've been in the online space for about 30 years. I've built multiple seven-figure businesses over the years and kind of heading in a new direction. And it's not new in the construct of new, meaning, you know, the content creator space has been around for literally forever. You know, people blog, they create content for social media. And if we have an online business or a business at all, we are absolutely a content creator. But I'm creating a new space in the content creator economy because I think there is a need for it. There are so many people out there that don't know how to monetize. So we're creating a whole new opportunity, and I'm educating people on that right now. So if you're here and you are a creator, then you are in the right place. Okay. So a couple of quick things. Yep, I just want to make sure, introduce myself. I would love to know if you've never been on one of my shows before, who are you? Are you new? Just put hashtag new in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. All right, so today, just making sure I got all my ducks in a row here, we are going to be talking about how to pitch a brand for creator sponsorship deals, okay? So for those of you who are, like I say, are a content creator, you are like in the right place. Problem is, what I found is a lot of times, if you are a creator, you're out there hustling, trying to attract your person to you through content, then you don't necessarily have things in place to monetize those that content. So I've been on this mission this week to share ways to do that, why it matters today. A lot of times in the past, when people, us as content creators have said, well, you know, I don't have a very big community, so why would somebody pay me to like do a video or to talk about their product or their service? Well, the dynamics of paid influence have shifted. And this is what I really, really want everybody to understand. The opportunity for small influencers or small content creators is richer today than big influencers. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen so that we can talk about this. All right, so like I say, today we're going to talk about how to pitch a brand for creator sponsorship deals. And specifically, we're going to do so through the lens of outreach. I talked about outreach being one of the ways that you find a brand to work with. And we talked about that yesterday. So if you weren't with us yesterday, feel free to go back and tune into that specific training. One of the things that we're, from the perspective of the training today, we're going to focus on email outreach specifically today. So that'll be the focus. One of the things that we have found to work really well is video outreach, and that is something we're going to be teaching and really providing scripts and things for in the Authority Creator Program that we're going to be launching towards the end of the month. But I want to give people enough information that they can run with this if they so choose to. So I want to run through the categories of influencers real quick, because if you weren't with me on Tuesday, you might not have any frame of reference for what the categories of influencers are. So mega influencers or celebrity influencers are people that have more than 1 million followers in the social media space. Technically I fall into that category because I have about 1.5 million followers. But my opportunity for influencer deals, and I've done a ton of them over the years, I need to go back and try to figure out how much money I've made off of influencer deals. But the point is that my opportunity is, I would argue, is not as rich as somebody who has 1,000 followers. And I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. Oh, hang on. Let's go back. If I don't hit the right button, I go the wrong direction. Macro influencers are kind of that person who has between 500 to 1,000 followers. And then mid-tier influencers are those people who have 50,000 to 500,000 followers. And then micro influencers are those that have 10,000 to 50,000 followers. And there's quite a few people that fall into this bracket. This is very optimal as well. But there's a huge opportunity with what I call nano influencers, people who have about 1,000 to 10,000 followers. And that's where so many people fall. If you've been in the business and trying to, build your online authority or expertise or, community, whatever words you want to use, your audience, then a lot of people have a smaller connected community. And this is why the opportunity is super rich. Now, why is this shift happened? And I think this is something all of us need to understand and embrace. It has happened because brands have realized that smaller accounts have better engagement. Those smaller communities are very connected to their influencer. I just want to give a shout out to Pat. Pat, I'm glad you're here, girl. So glad to see you. So let me share like an average feed post engagement. A nano influencer, that smaller influencer, somebody that has between 0 and, well, it says 10K here. I think it's really at that 1,000 point. They've got theirs broke down a little bit differently than I would. But the point is that those smaller accounts are getting 4 times the engagement of the larger accounts. And I challenge you to go peek at this. Like if you go peek at like Kim Kardashian's account, for example, and you were to run the numbers, you may look at it and you may say, well, look at all the engagement she's got. But based on the amount of numbers and the amount of people engaging with her, it's the percentages are way less. And a lot of brands have figured that out. So that creates a huge opportunity. And I really want you to lean in and hear this when I say this. I think that no matter how big your following is today, you shouldn't be afraid to put yourself out there and pitch to brands. Now, I think you're going to see way more of this in the future. I think you're going to see way more need for people to support the creator that doesn't know how to do these things. And you're also going to see way more need for the creator to do this for themselves. So those of you who are here and you're thinking about this through the lens of how do I do this myself, we're going to talk about that. And then I want you to also think about it in the construct of how much need is there for people to support the creator right now. It is absolutely huge. And one of the reasons that I'm doing the Authority Creator Program. So many people are, so Allison says, this nano gal needs to start speaking up. Yes, girl, you do. Pat saying, yes, some IG influencers are trying to figure out why their stats are dropping, but others aren't. There's a lot of factors, I think, in what's happening with algorithms and things like that. That's something we're always going to have to deal with. But again, how do you ultimately create an opportunity to monetize your influence for yourself, if that's what you're trying to do, or maybe even for someone else as a service going forward? Because like I say, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for this. So first things first, if you are wanting to do outreach to a brand, I guess my first thought would be make a list of brands that you might like to work with, and then stalk them. I know that sounds a little like stalkish, right? But you're doing it with the best of intention. What I find a lot of times, and I will say this, nothing irritates me more than to get an outreach from somebody like, hey, I would love to do your social media for you. And here's a link to go check us out. I'm like, you didn't even look at me. You didn't even look to see, you didn't look to see who I am. You have no idea that, I'm supposedly a social media power influencer. If you did, you wouldn't have made me an offer like that, right? So do not make this mistake. Do not make the mistake of approaching a brand and assuming that, because you haven't done your homework, that they need XYZ. You have to do your homework, which is what I'm really talking about when I say stalk them, okay? Because and you may get outreach sometimes and you're like, well, this doesn't fit me. Did they even look at my profile? It so annoys me when somebody reaches out with an offer that is not congruent, is not in alignment with something I would be interested in. And that's a turnoff, and you do not want that to happen. So your goal here is to do some research to make sure that what you say in your outreach is going to be appropriate, is going to be something that is going to catch their attention. So let's talk about, where do you look? Where do you stalk them? Look at their socials. I would start there. I would spend, honestly, I'd probably spend, sometimes when I do this, I usually spend anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes looking at a brand's socials. I take a peek at, and I try to, and I'm really big on this, what other brand collaborations have they done? So if they've worked with other influencers, what did that look like? Did they hire them to do a giveaway? They hire that influencer to do a product review? Did they hire that influencer to write a blog for them or to create a video series? What other brand collabs have they done? Because I don't want to pitch on something that someone else has already done. Like, for a quick example, maybe they've done a brand collab with another influencer and they created a series of videos on how to use their tool. Well, I can't pitch them on the same thing because they've already paid someone else to do that, right? So you got to pay attention to what other things they've done with other influencers, if they have. Now, in some cases, you may not be able to quickly find those things. Take a look at their mission statement. And I think this is really powerful. Let's say, for example, they're focused, and this is super huge right now, in inclusiveness. They're making sure that they're showing up in their socials and in their online presence across the board. They're wanting to make sure that people know that they care about that. It could be, if they're a health and wellness brand, maybe they are non-cruelty kind of thing, whatever their mission statement says. Those are like key phrases that, if that is important to you as well, that you can come in alignment with that messaging when you reach out to them. Okay. So take a look at their mission statement, take a look at their blog post, do the work, because those are touch points. And if you have a list, I would make the list, and then I would make a list of things on the side that resonate or that you can leverage when you do your outreach. Okay. Normally when I do outreach, I usually do probably about 3 at a time. because I can't really maintain many influencer opportunities simultaneously. So I don't like to do a ton of outreach, because if I outreach to, like 5 people or 10 people and they all say yes, then I've got a problem. So I usually try to maintain some balance. That said, when you're first starting out, you might want to do a little more than that, because it's a numbers game when you're first starting out. You might want to do, 10 at a time, because you want to make sure that you get one to say yes, right? So this would be what you would do. What I would recommend is kind of my process when I am doing outreach to a brand. So let's talk about the outreach piece, how you do this. One, your subject line, I would argue, is probably, I don't know if it's the most important, but it certainly ranks right on up there, because if you don't get your subject line right, they're not even going to open your email. So, and I look at this through 2 lenses, because I do outreach myself and I get outreach too all the time. So, and it's irritating to me when people do it poorly. And so for me, as the person who's being pitched, I'll give you a couple of pointers on that. So when somebody pitches me, if they are all about themselves, or their subject line is like, I need a blog on you, I need an article on your blog, that's their subject line, that's what they're leading with, I'm like, not opening that. Or if they open with something that's about what's in it for me, or it's super short and sweet, it's direct. If they can't come at me with a subject line that's like, do you need more blog articles? Okay, well, yeah, who doesn't, right? That might be something that would be very specific. It tells me that it's all about me, it's not about them. Just flipping that dynamic is super powerful when you're pitching someone, as somebody who gets pitched a lot. So, and you have to remember that some brands get pitched just like me. I mean, even though I am an influencer, I'm also a brand. So a lot of people approach me from the other side of the fence. So keep it short and sweet. You want to be direct and specific. Avoid salesy words, because spam filters will catch salesy words and they'll just drop you right into spam, and your email will never be seen by the brand. So you want to avoid any salesy words. And I will say this, collab is a great word. I'm going to talk about buzz phrases in just a little bit, but in the context of your subject line, a lot of brands are looking for creator collaborations. They're actively searching for them. In fact, it's a new position that a lot of brands are implementing and creating inside of their companies, because there's such a need for this. They know they get such incredible value from it. Brands that have traditionally, tried to spend money, it's difficult to acquire customers that way. They would much rather work with a influencer, because the return on their dollar is 5x usually on average. So collaborations it's a huge buzz phrase right now. And there is actually, brands, like I say, that are positioning and somebody inside of their company to do this as a full-time opportunity. And they're doing it, incidentally, in 2 directions. They are reviewing influencer pitches, and they're actively searching for influencers, which is one of the reasons, going back to what I shared with you yesterday, is, getting on those influencer platforms is important, because they're looking for you in those places. The next piece of it is introducing yourself, and now I will say this, it's not about you, really. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that you don't tell people a little bit about yourself, but you don't want to write a book here. This isn't 2 paragraphs. This is, 2, 3, 4 sentences max. You really want to showcase who you are so that you catch their attention, but you don't want to do it in such a way that, they're like, well, this person thinks they're all that in a bag of chips, or this person, I don't want to read this because it's just a book. They're going to just skip right over you and move on. So you want to make sure that you keep this succinct, on point, and address it from a perspective of including elements of things about you that matter to why you're reaching out to them. Okay. For example, if a brand is looking for, in my case, I'll just quickly use an example from my perspective. When some brands come my way, they're looking for, it depends. Sometimes it's brand awareness. Sometimes it's, a big community of people that they can step into. It could be a variety of things. Sometimes I'll leverage my Forbes top 10 thing. I'm a social media power influencer according to Forbes, or, something like that, where I can grab their attention because they're like, oh, well, this person is telling me they're an influencer. You see what I'm saying? Now that might not be something you have in your repertoire, especially if you're first starting. So you would use something else. So you might say something that would be more specific to what would be an end goal for them. Maybe it's, I've worked with other brands to increase their sales, or anything that would be a hook that would give you some credibility around something that would matter. I hope that's making sense. Highlight what you love about them is the next piece. And this is super powerful. A lot of times people will be like, well, if it's a product, for example, and you want to work with a brand, but you don't have any personal experience with it, you could approach it through the lens of, I love your brand. I love what you're doing. Be a little bit more generic. If you have personal experience with a product or service, then it's super easy, And when you're first starting, I recommend that you focus on the brands that you do have personal experience with. So if it's a tool, for example, I just did this. In fact, I reached out to vid.io, Vid, I guess it's Vid, VEED.io, and because they have a new feature on their platform, and I was like, oh my gosh, the world needs to know about this. So I shared what I really liked about their tool, and then I noticed you have this new feature, and y'all, if I hadn't Googled it and found it, I found it. I wouldn't have known it was on your platform, which means that you need a campaign in place to tell people about this feature because it's amazing. So that was kind of my approach to that particular, in that particular example. So look at it through the lens of what do you really love about the tool or the product or the service, and tell the brand whatever it is, from your heart, from a place of authenticity. The next piece, and this is where I think a lot of people fall down, because they don't have this. So what it is a media kit. Now, when you're first starting out, you may not have a media kit, right? The interesting thing is that a media kit can come in a lot of different forms. One of the things that we're doing in the Authority Creator program is providing a couple of different options, templates, et cetera, for starting your media kit, from, somebody who's just getting started to somebody who has a little bit more experience to a very experienced influencer. Because the reality is, as you evolve in this space, you are going to have more stories. You're going to have worked with more influencers over the years. What we found when we were trying to put together my media kit is, I always like people to learn from my mistakes. So every time you do work with a brand, I highly encourage you to document the results, because we've been trying to recreate all those all the things that I've done, and I've probably worked with 75 to 100 brands, maybe more, over the years, and doing different things. And unfortunately, we're having to go back and try to figure out what those things were, what the results were. In some cases, there's no touch point. We're like, man, why didn't we take care of that as we were going? And the reason this is important is because you will build out a portfolio of sorts where you highlight the other brand collabs that you've done inside of your media kit. Now, usually a media kit is, just kind of basics. It shows, some things about you and that kind of thing. But your media kit will evolve, is my point, as you get more savvy with the whole influencer opportunity. The next piece is you want to showcase your social platform numbers. If I get a pitch and I have to go back and forth, or if I have to hunt and peck for things, I am just not interested. And you have to take the same approach with a pitch. When you are pitching a brand, you have to give them all the details so that they can at least form a first decision point, meaning, wow, this person has enough. They've provided me with enough information that I don't have to search for, that I can say if I want to go forward and at least pursue a conversation with this person. So you want to include things like your profile statistics. That could be your Instagram numbers, for example. I've got this many followers. You might include things like your audience demographics. Like, for the most part, my demographics are, small business owners. And, if I'm approaching a brand and I say I have 1.5 million small business owners in my community, guess what happens? They wake up and smell the coffee. They're like, if their audience or their person is a small business owner, they're going to want to be exposed to my community, right? And that's what you want to share with them. Let's say, for example, you're a fitness expert. Well, I have, 1,000 people who are interested in fitness related topics. You might provide a post summary, and that would be things like comments, likes, shares, things of that nature. You might include some top performing posts that are specific to things that would matter to their brand. Stories are also powerful. So I don't want to, if you're doing story content like Instagram stories or Facebook stories, or all the platforms have stories these days. So if you're sharing content in story format to LinkedIn or Pinterest or Instagram, wherever those things are, incorporate a story summary. If you have top performing stories, incorporate those things. So share the social platform numbers in your outreach email. Include your rate sheet. Now, some people will tell you not to do this. I personally think that a rate sheet helps the brand to decide whether or not you fall within their budget. So, why have a conversation with a brand, waste their time and yours if they don't have a budget that will support your rate sheet? So a rate sheet is not set in stone. It is something that is, and everybody I think should at least have a baseline starting point. But it's a great place for brands to say, oh, look, this person will charge me $1,000 for a brand takeover on Instagram, or whatever the things are that you think you could do. If you're just starting out, you could say something like you're open to a first-time partnership rate. You could also say this regardless. One of the things that I try to foster is I try to foster a long-term relationship with a brand, because I would like them to pay me consistently, right? I would like to, if I love something, I love telling people about it, and I would like to get paid for that. And so I like to open the door, start working with a brand at sometimes a first-time partnership rate, and then move forward with other things that they ask me to do. Like I do a lot of work with the .online people. They're a domain registry, so .online, .store, and they'll reach out to me periodically, and they'll be like, hey, Kim, will you do a story for us around this? Or will you do this? And so I have a consistent opportunity to work with that brand, doing kind of, I would call them one-off things that they ask me to do. So those are, again, opportunities for you to get in the door and ultimately have the opportunity to work long-term with a brand. Now, rate sheets are one of those things that I think I love working with people one-on-one with. So in the Content Authority program that we're getting ready to release, that'll definitely be something that we work on. Because if you're just getting started, your rates may be totally different. And I think sometimes people undervalue. In fact, I would say 90% of the time, people undervalue their influence. We have formulas that we teach for specific platforms. But again, depending on how engaged your community is versus somebody else's community, you might be able to charge a little bit more than the standard rate, right? So I usually love to really look at people's numbers and their engagement rates and help them define a good starting point if they've never done this before. Or, and this is what I love doing, is blowing their mind with sharing what they could be charging versus what they are charging. So if that's something that you feel like you don't know how to do, then definitely I want you to get on the wait list for the the Authority Creator program, which I'll tell you about in just a minute. All right, the next piece is, and don't forget, this is super important, and I see this happening literally everywhere. If you don't tell people what to do, they don't do anything. And you would think that it would be a normal thing for people to understand what you want them to do, but it's not. If you don't create a call to action on your social post or your blog or your email, you will find that people either don't take action or they just don't exactly know what to do. So always use a call to action, and it's no different. And it's especially powerful in this connotation because you want to give them direction on the best way to continue the conversation. So if you want them to email you back, tell them. If you want them to book a call to talk to you, give them a booking link. If you want them to reach out to you on Instagram, tell them how to do it. So having a call to action is super powerful and super important. And keep in mind that because you've done all these things, you've shared, important pieces of information that they need to make a decision on whether or not they're open to a conversation with you. They're way more likely at this point in the email sequence to say, let me book a call if that's what you want them to do. Or, hey, let me reach out to them. Let me respond to this email, whatever it is. So my recommendation, absolutely, always never forget it. Tell them how they reach out to you. Okay. So that is the 7 things that you need to do to outreach in an email. Like I say, we've had a lot of success, and one of the things we teach and will be teaching in the Authority Creator program is the video outreach. The video outreach is even, I think, a little bit more powerful than the email outreach. 1, because not a lot of people are doing it. 2, they get a sense for who you are. And it's just so much more interactive, I believe, for a lot of people to get those outreach emails. We're doing this very successfully with reaching out to content creators to help them put things in place in their business, like pitch decks and things of that nature. So the video outreach, incredibly powerful for that side of the fence. I wanted to run over real quick again the top influencer social media platforms in the order that a lot of brands are looking for creators to create content on these platforms. Instagram is still ruling the roost. YouTube is second. And going down the row from there, but Twitter, Facebook being at the bottom of the pile. What I have found works really well, and the reason I'm bringing this up again is I feel like there's an opportunity to bundle things, and a lot of influencers aren't doing that. So for example, if a brand reaches out or you do an outreach and the brand's like, yeah, we would like for you to do blah, blah, blah on Instagram. You could bundle something and say, well, I can also show up on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook for a little more money, because you're creating, assuming that you have communities in those places. You're creating whatever piece of content that they want created, and you could charge them a little bit more to show up on the others, and it's a no-brainer, right? So that's just another opportunity. But I want to paint a picture for you real quick, because a lot of you guys that are potentially with me, I recognize some names. So, oh, Mike Koala, dude, we have got to connect. I'm so excited to see you in the comments. We were looking at this, going back to my point. A lot of times when we are learning about things like this, we're all content creators and we're like, okay, how can I use this? Right? We're all like, Pat's a content creator. I know Mike's a content creator. All the people that potentially are with me live and those that are watching on the replay, they're like, yes, I am a content creator. But, and then how can I go after brand gigs? But this is the opportunity that I think that is so rich right now. It's not just about, yes, we are content creators. How can we get these things? But this space, this whole content creator space, this creator economy, if you will, there is 50, well, actually, according to stats, about 48 million people who self-identify as a content creator. And I think that number is way low. I think that number, like I say, I really think all business owners are content creators. So that number could be, literally 10 times larger if people said and acknowledged that they're a content creator. The problem is a lot of these creators don't have basic things in their business. They don't have a lead gen, for example, so they're not moving their social followers to their list that's where they're going to monetize. They don't have an authority page, which is, somebody checks them out on social, goes to their website, takes a peek at their website. They're like, I have no idea what this person does because their messaging is all skewed. They don't know how to pitch themselves, which is all the things that we've just been talking about. So the monetization of their authority is like zero. It's super, super low. Or even if they're monetizing at a basic level, they're leaving so much money on the table. So what if, and I'm literally creating a whole new space, because buzz phrases are something I think we all should pay attention to when there is a new, in this case, there's nothing new under the sun, right? Everybody's been creating content since the beginning of time. Content is probably exponentially grown since I know it has, since the advent of the internet, and especially since the advent of social media. So content creation is not new, but it's a absolutely huge buzz phrase right now. You'll see it everywhere: content creator, content creator, content creator. It's like this huge new thing that's an old thing, but there's a whole new phrase. There's a phrase for it. There's a whole new creator economy phrase that's kind of the buzz phrase for this whole space. And there is an opportunity here from a service-based perspective to step in, and that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm creating a whole new opportunity here. How many of you have heard the term Facebook strategist, or you've heard a social media manager, or you've heard a social media strategist, or I'm a marketing expert, or I'm this, or I'm that? Those are all like very crowded marketplaces, right? How many of you have ever heard the phrase authority creator consultant? I've never heard that phrase myself. So it's a huge opportunity I'm creating this whole new space for those that would like to support the creator, because even though I'm telling you guys all this, and you have the knowledge and I'm telling you, go do it, you're more than likely, there's going to be things that you don't want to do for yourself. Maybe you don't know how to create a pitch deck. You don't know how to do outreach. You don't know how to create an authority page. You don't know how to do the things. You'd rather just hire somebody to do those things for you if you have the money to do them. And of course, now I've given you the knowledge. You could go do it yourself, but there's so many people that won't do the things themselves. They just want it done for them. So I feel like there's a whole new business opportunity here for people that would like to have a business in a box, that would like to support the creator economy as an authority creator consultant. And, again, going through, sorry, my picture going backwards there. You can have the very first t-shirt that says you're an authority creator consultant, because that's a new opportunity. It's a new space, and it's desperately needed. If I'm telling you that there's 48 million creators out there, that I think is probably 10 times that number, honestly, I think that number is grossly underestimated, undervalued. There's so much need for people to support the content creator. So snag a spot, y'all, on the wait list for the Authority Creator. We're approaching this through the lens of two lanes. One, this is a business in a box for those who want to support the creator and charge for it and get to 10K months. My promise to those that decide they want to run this as a business is that they will they'll create a 10K month in 90 days or less, or I'll keep coaching them until they do. So grab a spot on the wait list, guys. It's kimgross.com/authority creator. I am, like I say, super excited about this program. I just think there's such a need. And I'm literally creating a whole new space. So if you want to be one of the very first Authority Creator consultants versus being in a sea of other consultants, then join us. We're going to have a ton of fun and we're going to make a lot of money. And best part of all, we're going to serve a lot of people that need us in the meantime. All right. So if you have any questions in the meantime, I'm going live again tomorrow morning. We're continuing the education phase of this. So if you're intrigued, keep joining me. We're going to be doing another live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will go from there. All right. So you guys take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being here with me, joining me. It's always such a joy. It just lights me up to be able to share my knowledge with folks. So thanks for being with me. Like I say, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Bye-bye.